What's up, alumni? Welcome to After 4, your podcast for navigating life after graduation. I'm your host and guide, John Steele. Just a reminder that you can start enjoying this podcast and our other alumni podcast, InterVarsity World Changers, on YouTube. So if you'd like to watch these conversations with our awesome guests, head on over to YouTube and get subscribed right now. All right, we are continuing our series on health and wellness, and I am so excited about today's guest. I mean, I love all of our guests. They're amazing, but I really love today's guest because it's my dad. His name is Phil Steele, and he has spent a lifetime exploring the world of fitness and nutrition, both personally and professionally, and he's here today to pass along some of that wisdom and experience to us. I feel truly blessed to have had the opportunity to share the microphone with my dad this week and to be able to share this cool guy with you as he helps us continue taking healthy steps in this post-graduation season of life. Here's my dad, Phil Steele, and this one's for you, alumni. All right. Well, this is probably the most unique welcome that I've gotten to do in the years of doing this podcast. Dad, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to do this. For as long as you've been doing this, these podcasts, I've thought what a joy it would be to someday to be able to do it, and here we are.
Here we are.
We're doing it.
Here we are doing it. Just took 4 years for us to find the right episode.
That's okay. Glad to fit in where I can.
Yeah, I don't think anybody that regularly tunes in needs to hear much about our Call of Duty strategies and things like that. So or food conversations that we enjoy having. So no, this is well, I guess there'll be some food involved in this one too. So that fits nicely.
Yeah.
But yes, it's exciting to have my dad on the podcast today, and I mean, I could do quite an intro, but just to stick with tradition, I usually have my guests give their own introduction. So, Dad, would you help our audience get to know you?
Yeah, I've got a bachelor's in marketing, a master's in just orthopedic regulatory and clinical affairs.
There you go.
It's a long one, and I had to think that one through, which really was an eye opener coming from my background then as a personal trainer, listening to orthopedic surgeons, people that have gone through implants, orthopedic implants, the value, the necessity of taking care of yourself. I am certified. I'm certified through NASM, the National Academy of Sports Medicine, with a certified personal trainer, certification, senior fitness, and nutritional guidance, and then also a kettlebell certification through Strong First. I want you to know that to be, and I don't want to, forgive me for using the word fit or fitness, because you come across, well, does that mean that I'm unfit? And you can get a double meaning out of that. I don't want anyone to think that. I want you to take away from this that every one of you that listens, this will help you. I want to encourage you that whether you're athletic or not, strength, health, wellness is there for you to claim and to work towards.
That's great. And I think that's really helpful because it speaks to something that a previous guest, Mackenzie, who kind of kicked off this series for us. She's a health and wellness coach. That she talked about wellness being sort of like it's a journey. You're pointing in a particular direction and you are making progress in a direction. It's not a destination of either you're there or you're not. And it just leaves space for anybody can pursue wellness as in a big picture, and the things that you're going to share with us around, exercise and nutrition, that those are things that anybody can pursue wellness and continuing to improve just how their body is functioning physically and how those ripple effects impact all the other parts of our wellness. But yeah, as we've already alluded to a little bit here, at the start of a new year, we're looking at the topic of wellness. And as we know, our episodes are releasing in January, early part of the year, and it's a very common time for people to take another look at different aspects of their wellness. And our audience, being primarily people in that first year of life after graduation, it's an incredibly strategic time to be thinking about healthy life rhythms, because everything has been sort of thrown in a different direction, a different rhythm now that you're no longer on campus. So that's a big part of why we want to have these conversations now, is so that in that first year, people can start taking steps for the rest of their life that will set up healthy rhythms. So you and I are going to talk about exercise and nutrition. Let's start with the exercise category here. And I know that we could do a whole series on either one of these topics, and we're going to try to squeeze both of them into one conversation. So this will be pretty high level.
Yeah, we'll try to keep it there.
Some simple takeaways that people could today after work, that they could start implementing a couple of these things. That's where we'll be landing. So let's assume that as somebody listens in, one of the main obstacles standing in their way for physical fitness is their work schedule. They're working 40 or 50 hours. They no longer have like the big gaps in their day like they might have when they were on campus, that they could run to the gym, shower, and then make it to their next class and continue on. So I want to help us sort of simplify the process to make scheduling exercise a little more convenient than maybe what it feels like. So to help us think about that, is there a way that you would encourage people to sort of break down the way that they think about their body, like breaking it down into chunks of muscle groups or things like that, and primary groups to work on, and maybe some simple exercises that they could pair with those things?
I want to encourage you to lay a good foundation. Think about your stability and mobility and flexibility. That's your first thing. If you're new to working out, keep that in mind as far as how you're moving. If you want to do work at home, an exercise ball with some dumbbells, a kettlebell, is a great way to get started, and it will help you get you to that goal. If you're hesitant on buying equipment, body weight workouts are still a powerful way to take care of yourself. If you're trying to just do the very basics, try to include a squat, which will help the glutes, which are the largest muscles of your body. That's your backside, your rear end,
You can say butt on this podcast. It's okay.
You want to strengthen those butt muscles, because strengthening the butt muscles will also start working the quadriceps, which are the muscles in and around the knee, and that is vital. I am impressed just with myself at 67 that I have less knee trouble by doing certain kettlebell lifts. And we can include that. It's called a goblet squat. So if you wanted to look that up, do a YouTube on that, you can find it. So often you go into a gym, everybody will ask you, what's your bench press? In general, I'm not anti-bench press, but there are so many other things when you do an overhead press. Even if you just take literally a can of soup, just some little bit of weight, and start pressing that overhead, and do it for 10, 15, 20 repetitions, you're going to feel it within a couple of days if you are in an untrained condition. So you want to start thinking about any muscle group and just observe yourself as you're going through the day, your activities of daily living. That's what that's your primary target that you want to work towards. Try to get in 3 to 5 days a week. Start off easy with like maybe 2 to 3 days a week. 3 sets of 10. Go easy on it, because I don't want you to get sore and fear that you've damaged yourself and then give up. If you're in an untrained condition, be prepared. There may be some soreness, but look at that and work wisely into that. that your body is starting to adapt and to strengthen. So
yeah, I remember you talking about oftentimes there's a mindset around soreness that if I don't feel sore, then I haven't done enough, or I haven't done it right. And that you're saying that there will be some soreness, but I know that there are places where we can lean too heavy into that of I've got to do more, so that the next day I'm just totally shredded and destroyed. And that's how I know that yesterday was a good workout. And it seems to me that you would say, especially for somebody starting off, that should not be the metric that you're working off of.
No, don't go by that no pain, no gain mindset. That is a terrible standard to set for yourself.
Okay.
I would prefer if I was working with you, if we were meeting a couple of times a week, 2 or 3 times a month, whatever. I would encourage you that if this is new, if working out, if exercise is new to you, then focus on getting your body to adapt. Go through a 2 to maybe even 4 week program of adapting to get your body to where it's moving properly. You can feel the strength, you can feel some gains before you really start pushing yourself. And even then, go gently with it. The fact that you're doing something, that's what's important.
Yeah. Yeah, I like what you said. Something along the lines of just doing something is like this is beneficial, and so much of it does feel like is there a small chunk of your day that you can be consistent? Like I can do 10 minutes a day. And I can be consistent with 10 minutes. It's like, that's great, because that starts to build the rhythm that when that time of day comes around, it's just like what people encourage us for our devotions is like, find a place and find a time and be consistent.
Yes.
It's the same thing with so many other healthy practices. If you can find a place and a time every day and start out with 10 minutes, that's great, because then your brain will start to anticipate that it's coming. And then as you are consistent and you're like, oh, I'm like, maybe even looking forward to this time because I know it's good for me. I feel better about myself, even just mentally, when I do this, and I'm more capable of doing these movements. Then it's like, I think maybe next week I could start doing 15 minutes a day. And, just over time you start to build, and eventually something will happen that will throw you off. You'll either get sick, or you could push yourself just a little too far. You have a little extra soreness. And then it's just a matter of getting back to it and continuing on. Yeah,
just don't quit. That's the important thing. And you'll get to a point where you're actually your body is anticipating and you're looking forward to that workout, even though you get up to a point where it is a tough workout. You're looking forward to it. And like what you said, do something, even if it's just to get started walking.
Find something that you enjoy, especially if exercise is something that you're not that excited about. Find something you enjoy doing that you can pair with it. Like one of the most helpful things for me was like, well, I have a rhythm of, every evening, once everything is done, I'll sit down and turn on the TV for a little while and enjoy an episode of whatever show I'm watching at this point. And eventually it was like, well, I don't have to choose between these two things. I can still enjoy this show that I want to watch, and I can move while I do it. And even just mentally having that little bit of a distraction is super helpful. And you can lean a little further into the exercise that you're doing. I know growing up, we would always like, okay, what's the music that will get us through this workout, and how loud can we turn it up before people get mad at us? And that's gives you that little bit of distraction and adrenaline rush for kind of getting through a tough workout. And you can do the same thing with, this is my evening show that I enjoy watching. Great. Then stand up and move for 10 minutes while you do it. Let's jump to nutrition, because I know that there's also more to talk about there than we have even time to. But one of the things that stands out to me is that there are so many fad diets. There have been for a long time. There are so many influencers on Instagram and TikTok and things like that that are pushing specific foods and eating plans. And that's not to say that, well, any eating plan or nutritional information you get off of Instagram or TikTok is garbage. Don't listen to it. That's not what I'm saying. But there's just a lot of it to sort through, and some of it is garbage. So can you help us cut to kind of the main truth that there are some of the main truths that we need to keep in mind about nutrition? Then we can hold those up against some of those things that we see and say, like, does this hold up with just the basics that we need to keep in mind for what we need for strong, healthy nutrition?
Do your due diligence on investigating your nutritional benefits of a diet. The other problem I have are diets that restrict your macros, protein, carbohydrates, and fats. There's a change now as far as, it used to be restrict all fats. And now they're telling you if you can eat an avocado a day because of the healthy fat and, the nutrients. So there's a lot of change coming about in the nutrition world.
Interesting.
It is very interesting what's going on now. But it puts a lot of pressure on the individual to not get caught up in that fad diet.
Yeah.
So,
and it feels like it seems to me that like protein is one of those macros that always has a good name. It's always like I think especially in our kind of typical Western diet, like we can't get enough protein because we can be so carb and fat heavy. Yeah. Especially the carbs. So protein feels like that's one that's always like, if you can add more good protein to your diet, do it. But then that it's really easy for things like carbs and fat to get a bad rap because there are trash versions of them, but there are also really good versions of them that are like, if you're being mindful, there are positive carbs and positive fats to add to your diet that do supply part of your body's needs, and it's about having them in balance, in appropriate balance, and that any one of those things you can go way over the top in including too much or excluding too much, and cause yourself some problems.
So, and that comes up again to that, the diets that are macro restrictive. I listen to people that go off on carbohydrates, and they don't do a little bit of study to find out there are good carbohydrates and bad carbohydrates. Your good carbohydrates falls in with fruits and vegetables, and so many people just go ballistic over the sugar, especially in fruit, and they don't understand what are called the micronutrients that are involved with your fruits and vegetables. And that's where you get your vitamins, minerals, and your plant-based nutrients, polyphenols, and all of that world right there. Just an apple alone has around 12,000 nutrients, and that's old science. I apologize. I have not updated because that's probably 10 or 12 years ago that I learned that information. And with our science today, it could be more than that. And how can you turn away from an apple because of the sugar content when you look at everything else involved with? And that's across the board with every other fruit and vegetable.
And this is the importance of like whole food nutrition as opposed to sort of individually pulled out vitamins and minerals. Like there's something to be said for if you are deficient and you need a boost of this particular thing. Like that's one thing. I guess I don't have the knowledge to speak against something like that, but just like sort of randomly grabbing vitamins and minerals that you've heard of before and taking your daily handful of those, that something like an apple having that many different micronutrients in it, it's like you can't take enough supplements to get all of those things, which is why eating whole, raw fruits and vegetables is so important. And it's just kind of a bummer that vegetables in particular, so many people hate, eating.
I know. I'm on my second nutritional guidance certification from two different, I've got, this one is from a different institution, NASM, like I said. But what has been consistent through both of those certifications, and they were built by doctorate level nutritionists, registered dietitians. So this is not bro science nutrition coming out.
Okay, that's good.
I really like that term because it really fits on a lot of things. The thing that they commented on is that we are not a vitamin. Now, this is in general. Our society is not a vitamin deficient society. We are a nutrient deficient society.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that goes into we aren't getting enough fruits and vegetables in our diet.
So then are there ways that you would recommend, I think, especially for people that are not, I'd say especially for people that are not fans of vegetables, that's usually what I hear more than anything, but are there recommendations that you would make for strategically, thoughtfully, creatively including more of this whole plant-based nutrition, fruits and vegetables into your diet?
Well, I know that the one of the first things that people will come back on is how expensive fruits and vegetables are, because your first line of defense is to eat the fresh, raw fruits and vegetables. Like where we live, where you and I, you're in Minnesota, I'm in Indiana. I know the farmers markets are very popular. You can access, true fresh, raw fruits and vegetables, and know where they've come from. Yeah. Through the winter, it gets more difficult. A lot of controversy with pesticides. Just be careful in washing everything that you buy to make sure that it's, try to remove as much of that pesticide as possible. As far as cost, I know that our families utilize a store called Aldi. It is a more cost-effective way of buying if you're just trying to get started and make positive changes in your nutrition. It's a good way to go. The other one, which it's interesting. We talk about doing this podcast, and then all of a sudden I hear these people talking about, especially if you're single. You go to the store, here are these large packages of fruits or vegetables. Yeah. Go in together with someone and divide that package. Yeah. That's like a good idea. A bag of romaine usually has 3 heads in it. Yeah. If you're trying to build your healthy habits, you may not get through that bag of romaine until it goes bad. And then you're just throwing money in the trash can. Yep. So connect with someone makes it a little more easy going through the produce part of your store, talking through what you're doing. And, someone, I'll buy this, you buy that, we'll split. That's another option to try to get going on it. The other possibility is, and I don't want to be pushing a product, is, our family, since 2007, had been using a product called Juice Plus. And it is a product in capsule form, fruits and vegetables in capsule form that make it very easy to help add in more fruits and vegetables to your daily servings. And even the Juice Plus company says your first line of defense is to eat fresh, raw fruits and vegetables. So just the nutrition background that I have, I respect them for, even though we've got a product we want you to buy, to still push the first, your first line of defense. So, and if somebody be interested in more information, we can include that in.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's really helpful just to know that there are lots of creative ways to take some steps in this. And I love the fact that you talked about going in with somebody on, like, because you're right, fruits and vegetables can be expensive, or they can come in such a big quantity that you can't make it through them in time. And one of the other things that we talked about in our introductory episode is that these elements of wellness are all interrelated with one another. And that even something like the way that you shop for your groceries, the way that you shop for your fruits and veggies in particular, can also have a positive influence on your relational wellness. That you're like connecting with a friend, developing a relationship, you have something healthy that you are working on together. And that you're like sort of embracing this strategy together and saving money together, which also then leads you into some elements of financial wellness. So here you go. Looking out for your nutrition can help you make better friends and can help you save some money as well. So like all of these elements are tied together.
Yeah, especially if it's someone that you can team up with your exercise.
Yeah.
And, the two of you get together, you're an encouragement for each other. You can work out together. You can say, hey, I've been trying this. The other one's been doing something else, and, work together on just keeping each other going. Yeah. And then from the nutrition side of it, it would be more fun if when you not with your fruits and vegetables, but actually in meal preparation, experimenting on healthy, that overall healthy diet plan.
Right.
There again, you could end up with a stir fry, a chicken or a steak stir fry, and have more than what you can consume. And, you call up your friend, or the two of you have gotten together, you put this together, and with the intent of, you come over to my place, we'll make this, split it, and we've got a couple of meals out of it.
Yeah.
So
I really love that there are all of these different aspects of health and wellness that we can tie together by focusing in on one, that we have a really great opportunity to even impact the other ones. Dad, we talked about a number of different things here, but I want to leave some space. One of our rhythms that we do on our podcast, as you know, because I know that you listen, is sort of wrapping up with a final piece of advice or word of encouragement. And it can also be a nice filler space if there's anything that we missed that you want to make sure we include. So I wonder, for somebody in this first year of life after graduation who is wanting to lean into wellness, and in particular who's wanting to take steps in the way that they are exercising and their personal nutrition, do you have a final word of advice or a final word of encouragement that you would offer up?
Like what I had said earlier on in the podcast, my concern, I want to help, even the hardcore college or professional athlete.
Sure.
I would gladly work with them. But my passion is towards those people that have never been here before. You have no clue how to get going. Please don't think that this isn't for you. What we've talked about today, everyone that listens to this podcast, this is for you. And my encouragement is, there again, it's interesting how we talk about something and then Instagram or Facebook, it's like, I got my phone laying here on the table and everybody is listening to me. As far as it'll come up on Instagram or Facebook now. A couple of posts that have commented on the heart attack you had at 50 started at 20.
Oh gosh. Wow.
The Alzheimer's that set in, 50s, 60s, started in your 20s and 30s.
Wow.
That's not something, and this is what I had alluded to earlier about so much is changing in the fitness and exercise world. they are really leaning into what is causing Alzheimer's. Same thing with diabetes. If it's in your family, then I encourage you even more. Get on board with taking better care of yourself. If you're struggling with weight loss, that group of people especially, I know you're struggling. Don't think that you can't do something. My encouragement to that group that's trying to lose weight: cut yourself some slack, take a deep breath, push the weight loss back just a little bit.
Yeah.
Focus on your strength work. If you attack your weight loss from a different direction and go at it from a strength mindset. I've just started following another doctor, and her big thing is that her big saying is muscle is medicine. We are really learning how much, and it's not that you become a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
It's that you try to regain or just build just a very basic level of muscle, strength muscle to go along with a good, healthy mindset.
Yeah.
So that would be my, I want to be encouraging to everybody out there.
Yeah.
Is please don't think that this isn't for you.
Dad, I think you've given us a lot of really good stuff to, a lot of good stuff to think about here. And a lot of it feels like stuff that we could tomorrow, not even tomorrow. Don't wait till tomorrow, that today, once you get home from work, that there's a couple of these things that you could start implementing right away. And so
Absolutely.
I'm really grateful for that. I'm thankful to have some accessible insights on how to take some positive steps towards health in exercise and nutrition, and I'm glad that I got to have that conversation with my dad. That's pretty fun.
I've enjoyed because you and I have had a workout history together, and I've always enjoyed that.
Yes.
And to go along with that, if there's any of the feedback from the podcast, if people have other questions, I will gladly help in any way I can.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
Just, if you've, for whatever, I will help you find more information or help direct you to where you can get the best workout going and workout and nutrition program started.
Perfect. So, well, we will make sure to direct people towards you. That's for sure. Thank you for being an ongoing resource in that.
No, you're welcome.
And thanks for investing in our alumni and helping them continue to take healthy steps in their life after graduation.
Absolutely pleased to do it. It's been an honor to be able to help anybody in any way I can, and great time working with you on this.
As we wrap up, let me just quote my dad and remind you that this will help you. Whether you're athletic or not, strength, health, and wellness is there for you to claim and to work towards. Alumni, you don't have to be an athlete to be strong and healthy. You can pursue health and wellness in a way that caters to the unique, purposeful way that God made you. Experiment and find safe exercise routines and common sense nutrition plans that are sustainable for the long haul and that you can apply consistently and graciously. You absolutely can do it. Dad, thanks so much for joining me this week. This was so much fun, and I am really grateful for you investing your time and talents in our young alumni. I love you, Dad. Alumni, come back next week for a conversation with my friend and coworker, Chase Reed. Chase is a licensed professional in the world of clinical counseling, and she has some really great insights to share about caring for our mental health in seasons of major life transition. Until then, consider sharing this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, and I will see you in the after, alumni. Thanks for listening to After 4. This podcast is brought to you by the InterVarsity Alumni Relations Team, hosted and produced by John Steele. Production assistance by Mike Centera, edited by Caleb Leppert, and our After 4 theme music was written and performed by John Steele.